Greetings fellow cultivators. Welcome to Audio Nova. Remember to like and subscribe to support the journey. Today, we're diving into the story of what's the point of cultivating immortality if you don't have money. Hearing Xiong Yu's answer, a gleam flashed in Black Crow's eyes, and he laughed. Haha, if it's the spring and autumn endless zen, then many old folks would love to learn it, a top-tier body refining technique they'd want to complete. Then I wish you success in this trial lesson, Teacher Ma, and that you become the new golden teacher of our gang. Once you become a golden teacher, you'll be able to teach the most important, wealthiest clients in the gang, the ones with the strongest spending power. A post-tax income of over $1 million each month will definitely not be a problem. Oh, right, there are also 3 senior teachers from the gang here, to try out the lesson. As he spoke, Black Crow led Xiong Yu to the outside of the classroom, where the trial lesson would be held. 3 gang teachers were already waiting there. When they saw Black Crow and Xiong Yu walking over, they couldn't help but take a few extra glances, a hint of doubt flashing in their eyes. One of the middle-aged women asked curiously, "Black Crow, who is this?" Black Crow introduced, "This is Teacher Ma Yurtung, also here to participate in today's trial lesson." Hearing this, the 3 gang teachers all frowned, and their gazes towards Xiong Yu held an even stronger sense of coldness and hostility. The middle-aged woman directly inquired about Xiong Yu's background, asking, "I know all the teachers in the gang who can tutor those at the peak of key refining. This Teacher Ma seems a bit unfamiliar. Could it be that you've only recently joined the gang?" Black Crow smiled slightly and said, "Teacher Ma hasn't been here for long. He was previously responsible for teaching construction site cultivation techniques. He hasn't been around for the past few months due to some matters, so it's normal that Teacher Chi doesn't recognize him." Hearing that Xiong Yu originally taught construction site cultivation techniques, a trace of contempt flashed in the hearts of Teacher Chi and the other 2. After all, the average education level of construction workers is low, their immortality foundation is poor, and because they take inferior drugs year-round, there are far more mentally challenged individuals than in other classes. It can be said that the quality of students in the construction site class is far inferior to that of the elderly class, and their spending power is even more incomparable. And the teachers who teach the construction site class are naturally much worse in terms of strength, teaching ability, and mastery of cultivation techniques compared to the 3 of them. Teacher Chi nodded and didn't pay any more attention to Xiong Yu. It seemed that her opponents today were still the other 2 senior underground teachers beside her. Black Crow looked at his phone and said, "The elders of the gang have all arrived and are watching the classroom through the cameras. Then I'll greet the students in the class first, and then we'll start the trial lesson. The order will be as previously arranged, with the 3 of you, Teacher Chi, going first, and then Teacher Ma will go last. Is that okay?" Xiong Yu nodded, indicating that there was no problem. Black Crow walked into the classroom and saw more than a dozen old men with different temperaments already waiting in the classroom, some standing and some sitting. As these dozen or so old men with different temperaments all looked over, feeling the pressure of so many at the peak of key refining, Black Crow's footsteps faltered, and cold sweat trickled down his forehead. Black Crow smiled slightly and said, "Sorry to keep you all waiting. Our trial lesson will begin immediately. Thank you all very much for taking the time." At this moment, a stern-faced, silver-haired old man in the audience said coldly, "Black Crow, last time that Teacher Song only had a high school diploma. He didn't even pass the university entrance exam, yet he dared to come and teach us. The teachers use the range this time, won't they be just as unreliable?" Black Crow quickly reassured, "Mr. Wong, although Teacher Song only has a high school diploma, he has extensive teaching experience. A low education level doesn't affect his ability to teach." Mr. Wong snorted and said, "Who sitting in this classroom isn't a university graduate? Can a high school student teach us? Can he teach clearly?" Black Crow wiped the sweat from his forehead. He understood that these university-graduated old men in front of him had been able to cultivate, study, and work to this age and were able to maintain their spending through their work. They were all elite workhorses in their companies, absolute education level discriminators. Whether high school graduates should have human rights in their eyes might even be questionable. At this moment, another old man chimed in, "Is your dark learning gang even competent? If it were in our company, resumes with high school diplomas wouldn't even reach my desk. Are they even qualified to teach people?" Yet another old man agreed, "Aren't people who don't pass the university entrance exam just social scum? Their evolution isn't even complete, and their bloodline is destined to be eliminated. That's right. An old woman with disheveled hair and beard said, "Can someone who doesn't pass the university entrance exam even be considered a person?" "Not necessarily, everyone, not necessarily," Black Crow quickly tried to dissuade them. "Moreover, the teachers for our trial lesson this time are guaranteed to be university graduates." "HMPH, Mr. Wang said, then we want to see their university diplomas. Only those with university diplomas are qualified to teach here." Hearing this, Black Crow's face showed another moment of difficulty. After all, almost all the teachers in the gang hid their identities and were unwilling to have their information known. How could they possibly provide university diplomas? Moreover, he had just said it casually, and he wasn't even sure if the for trial lesson teachers today were all university graduates. Black Crow, who had a high school education, couldn't help but curse in his heart, "These old bastards, none of them treat high school students as human beings." You should know that good high schools are no worse than vocational colleges, and good vocational colleges are no worse than universities, so excellent high school graduates can fully be competent as teachers after years of hard work. Although he secretly grumbled in his heart, he didn't dare to offend these important clients. Just as Black Crow was secretly thinking about the trouble, his phone vibrated. It was a message sent to him by the gang elders, watching the classroom through the cameras. After reading the contents, Black Crow said to the old men in front of him, "Everyone, the dark tutoring world doesn't arbitrarily reveal identities. This is a long-standing rule of the underworld, and our dark learning gang shouldn't break it. However, your concerns are also reasonable. How about we change the method, and have you send a representative to personally verify the teacher's cultivation level?" Mr. Wang frowned and asked, "How to verify?" Black Crow said, "This time, they are all teachers responsible for teaching body refining. Why don't you, Mr. Wang, take action? Each teacher will not block, parry, or dodge, but will use their physical body to withstand 3 of your moves. What do you think? With your level, Mr. Wang, a teacher who can withstand your 3 moves like that definitely won't only have a high school diploma, right?" The crowd nodded slightly. After all, high school students can't pass the university entrance exam. As soon as they graduate from high school, they have to work, and they have absolutely no time, energy, or wealth to meticulously cultivate various body refining techniques. Only university students go to the second level, where they can continue to focus on their studies and cultivate more techniques during their 10 years of university. Even if they both have a physical body strength of level 10, people with a university education often far outperform people with a high school education in various aspects, with the blessing of multiple body refining techniques. Mr. Wang said proudly, "HMPH, those wastes who haven't even gone to university can't possibly withstand 3 of my moves. I approve of this method." Black Crow knew that this Mr. Wang was quite prestigious among these old things. As expected, seeing him agree, the other old men had no further objections. So Black Crow went out and explained the situation to Xiong, Yu, and the other 3. The other 3 teachers were full of confidence and agreed without hesitation. Although Xiong Yu wasn't very clear about what Mr. Wang's strength was, he had no choice but to agree for the time being. That slight hesitation of his, in the eyes of Teacher Shi and the other 2, was a sign of insufficient confidence. They became even more contemptuous of Xiong Yu, and even suspected that Xiong Yu only had a high school diploma, which was why he was so hesitant. Teacher Shi, the middle-aged woman, was the first trial lesson teacher to enter the classroom. When verifying her cultivation level, she stood still, allowing Mr. Wang to strike her shoulders and stomach with 3 consecutive palms. Amidst the 3 loud booms, Teacher Shi took 5 steps back, her face flushed for a moment, before returning to normal in the blink of an eye. Mr. Wang nodded in approval. "Not bad. Physical body strength has reached its peak, possesses multiple body protection techniques. Only university graduates have this level." Having gained the approval of the old men, Teacher Shi secretly breathed a sigh of relief and walked onto the podium to begin her lesson. "Today, I'm going to teach everyone how to poop. This may seem like a daily trivial matter, but there's a lot of knowledge in it, concerning the safety of your life." Many years ago, a senior expert, after working overtime for 10 years without rest, suffered from constipation for half a year due to excessive pressure. He eventually comprehended a set of techniques on the toilet, called the detoxification and health cultivation technique. What I'm going to teach today is this detoxification and health cultivation technique. After mastering it, You can excrete toxins and impurities from your body every day. The way of body refining: 3 parts practice, 7 parts eating, and the remaining 90 parts all depend on how you jag medicine. As the saying goes, the more needle holes on your arm, the worse your grades will be. But the more medicine you jab, the more you need to detoxify. So there's another saying called good students must be able to squat. According to the latest research in Immortality, there is a positive correlation between students' body refining scores and hemorrhoid rates. Looking at the old man listening attentively to her lecture, Teacher Chi's motivation grew stronger and stronger. She thought to herself, for my 9 children, to raise them to adulthood, to get them into university, to enable them to find jobs, I must become a golden teacher. Whenever she thought about her 9 children growing up, working hard to repay her parenting loans, and transferring money to her every month, Teacher Chi felt that she was getting closer and closer to the wonderful days of not having to work overtime, and only having to work 12 hours a day. At the same time, the cameras in the classroom captured Teacher Chi's classroom performance, allowing the many elders of the dark learning gang sitting in the conference room to see clearly. One of the elders commented, "Little Chi set lacks innovation and has no tricks." Another elder said, "The course is solid, but it's old news. The renewal rate is probably not high." Let's look at the next one. Outside the classroom, Xiong Yu listened to Teacher Chi's lecture and thought to himself, simple to understand, key points highlighted, memorable, and humorous. Combined with the latest theories, this woman's lecturing level is already about the same as an excellent teacher in a key high school, right? The competition for the golden teacher of this dark learning gang seems to be more intense than I imagined. No, my original preparations are still somewhat insufficient. I need to add more chips. This woman's flaw lies in this detoxification and health cultivation technique. This technique is not advanced enough. I have to highlight the advantages of spring and autumn endless zen in terms of taking medicine. The second trial lesson teacher walked into the classroom. This was a burly man with muscles bulging like marble. Mr. Wong took action again, unleashing 3 palms in a row, forcing the burly man back 3 steps, but his expression remained unchanged, as steady as Mount Tai. Mr. Wong commented, "Good hard work. This level of cultivation is impossible without graduating from university." The other party smiled slightly and said, "I hope the old gentleman is satisfied." "Hello everyone, I am Teacher Yao, you can also call me Little Yao. I used to sell legal addictive drugs, it was a legitimate business. Later, someone told me that you can't get rich in an honest way, so when I heard that the dark tutoring world earned a lot, I joined this line of work. Then I realized that some things, although not legal, are reasonable." Hearing his words, everyone laughed. Teacher Yao then took off his shirt, revealing his back covered in needle holes. Showing off the needle holes that were still leaking fluid, Teacher Yao said with a face full of pride, "Because I came from selling drugs, I used to have a lot of research on expelling drug toxins. Looking at the number of my needle holes, you can tell how much medicine I've injected. The secret to why I can still maintain such a healthy state today lies in the blood cleansing needle technique that I'm going to teach you today. This set of acupuncture techniques allows the needle force to directly reach the depths of the internal organs, forcing out the drug toxins and residue in your body every day, so you no longer have to worry about the side effects of drugs and can take them with peace of mind, and work overtime with peace of mind." Of course, as a former professional, if you have any questions about medicines or want to buy medicine, you can ask me. I still have some channels to help you get some discounts. On the other side of the meeting room, the elders of the dark learning gang were listening to Teacher Yao's lecture, all nodding secretly. Little Yao is good. He can sell medicine while teaching, so his course revenue has always been among the best. Combining medicine and lessons is a general trend. Key high schools have been doing this for a long time, and we should follow suit. Outside the classroom, Xiong Yu listened to Teacher Yao's speech and thought to himself, "No, I have to add some advantages to myself." Xiong Yu thought of his last trial lesson. In the park, these key, refining old fogies were able to get into university, probably from key high schools or even the top 3 high schools. When you're out and about, your identity is what you make it. If I pretend to be a white dragon person, maybe I'll be more popular. Hello everyone, my surname is Bai, and I graduated from White Dragon High School. The third trial lesson teacher to take the stage was an old man with a youthful face and white hair. With a chuckle, Teacher Bai took Mr. Wang's 3 palms and only took a slight step back before standing firmly. Mr. Wang raised his eyebrows. You are also from White Dragon High School. Then we are alumni. Teacher Bai smiled slightly and said, I am 145 years old this year. Greetings to this junior. When I was studying at White Dragon High School, it was just a small building, and there were no grade rankings. Listening to the other party casually mentioning the history of White Dragon High School, Mr. Wang immediately believed most of it, and nodded slightly. Hello, senior. Teacher Bai smiled, looked at the many old men in the classroom, and said slowly, you can only live to old age by learning until old age. I believe you have seen many people who are poor and die because they don't have a job. When I was as young as you, I was also busy with work all day long, attending tutoring classes every night to enhance my work competitiveness. After all, how can you work without learning? How can you earn money to live to old age without working? Only by persisting in learning, working, and paying taxes for a lifetime is the righteous path of cultivation for us. Like me, I am now 145 years old, but I have almost saved enough money to buy longevity pills. When I successfully take the pills, I will be able to live to 170 years old and work for another 10 years. Hearing these words, the many old men applauded in unison, looking at the 145-year-old Teacher Bai as if they saw their own role model. Of course, the reason why I can live so long and maintain my working ability is related to my long-term persistence in cultivation and expelling toxins from my body. On the other side of the meeting room, the elders of the various gangs also praised him. Old Bai is still steady. He hasn't even officially started teaching, but he has already closed the gap with the students. With his seniority, qualifications, and his own example, he can definitely suppress these customers. If this class is handed over to him, the continuation rate will definitely be high. Alas, whether it's little Xiong or Old Bai, I don't know who to choose. Outside the classroom, listening to Old Bai's lecture, Zhang Yu secretly thought something was wrong. This guy is also playing the White Dragon card. Damn it, I have to think of other advantages. These key refining old fogies are all high-minded and come from key high schools or even the top 3. Ordinary methods may not be able to suppress them. After Teacher Bai finished his lecture, it was finally Zhang Yu's turn. As soon as Zhang Yu entered the classroom, he heard Mr. Wang take the lead and say, young man, go out, no need to speak anymore. Although Zhang Yu's disguised appearance was also in his 30s or 40s, he was obviously just a young punk in the eyes of these old men. Mr. Wang said coldly, we have decided to have Senior Bai teach the class, no need to change people. With that, he suddenly brought up a palm with bursts of wind and thunder, and it had already slammed towards Zhang Yu's chest, as if to blast Zhang Yu out of the classroom door in one breath. Bang! In the midst of an explosion, Mr. Wang's palm first collided with Zhang Yu's copper armor skin, which had been tempered by the grievance power. Then, the palm force was blocked by the formless cloud key under the skin. Then, with the transmission of the formless cloud key, it was unloaded onto Zhang Yu's bones, which were like silver frost, all over his body. Zhang Yu, who seemed unmoved, used his flesh and bones, which had been tempered to the peak level of key refining, coupled with his strength application skills, to withstand this palm. As for Mr. Wang, he felt as if he had slammed a palm on a piece of 100 refined steel bar that was the foundation of a skyscraper. Not only did he fail to push the other party back a step, but his own palm was sore for a while. You brat. Mr. Wang looked at Zhang Yu with an uncertain expression. What a strong body protection technique. It's not just one, is it? Zhang Yu smiled slightly and said, old sir, there are 2 more palms. Mr. Wang said lightly, with your body refining cultivation, you must have come from university, no need to test further. He put his hands behind his back, his palms trembling from the pain of just striking out, wanting to apply ice immediately. The other old men were also secretly surprised to see this scene. They all knew Mr. Wang's level. Zhang Yu, who could be evaluated so highly by Mr. Wang, suddenly rose in their eyes. Immediately, they all quieted down, wanting to hear this young man's teaching level. Zhang Yu walked to the podium and said lightly, my surname is Ma. You can call me Teacher Ma. The boundless zen of spring and autumn that I am going to teach you today is a technique that I learned when I was in Immortal Cloud High School. An old man frowned and said, what kind of high school is Immortal Cloud High School? I've never heard of it. Another old man said, it sounds a little familiar, could it be some ordinary high school? Mr. Wang suddenly raised his head and said in shock, "You said Immortal Cloud High School? Could it be that?" "That's right." Zhang Yu said lightly, "It is Immortal Cloud High School on the 5th floor of Immortal Capital. I am from Immortal Capital." Zhang Yu's words immediately attracted the attention of everyone present. Meeting everyone's gaze, Zhang Yu said lightly, "My home is on the North 6th Ring Road, on the 5th floor of Immortal Capital, and it's not outside the 6th Ring Road, it's inside the 6th Ring Road." Someone whispered, "What is the 5th floor?" Mr. Wang said softly, "It is the cloud layer of Immortal Capital. It is a sky city, but specifically what location this North 6th Ring Road is I don't know." Zhang Yu explained, "The sky above Immortal Capital is a floating island covering the entire city. It is a sky city, we generally call it the 5th floor, between the 1st and 2nd floors of Kongshu. The most beautiful place above is the Central Cloud Sea Park. I still remember the trees, lakes, and giant dragons spitting clouds, and fog in the sea of clouds." While recalling the luxurious scenes of the 5th floor that he saw in the Daoxin test of the Foundation Establishment examination, Zhang Yu showed a look of nostalgia in his eyes, telling everyone about the wonderfulness of the 5th floor. Zhang Yu thought to himself, that half-day of illusion experience is enough to brag about in Songyang City. Everyone listened to the various delicacies, magic weapons, and furnaces in the mansions next to Cloud Sea Park, all with faces full of yearning, wishing they could go there once in their lives. Mr. Wang secretly thought in his heart, "What is the origin of this person? The Immortal Capital people I met on the 2nd floor don't seem to say things as powerful as what he said." After Zhang Yu bragged for a while, he suddenly raised his eyebrows, looked at everyone, and said, "Originally, I had no interest in coming to your countryside to tutor you bumpkins." He sighed helplessly, "It's a pity that the weather is unpredictable, and people have good and bad luck. I can only wrong myself." Feeling the 3 points of contempt, 3 points of disdain, 3 points of contempt, and that 1 point of arrogance in Zhang Yu's eyes, Mr. Wang's body shook, and he shouted in his heart, "That's the feeling. The Immortal Capital people I met on the 2nd floor were just as arrogant, and that's the way they talk to us Songyang people." While imitating the Immortal Capital masters he saw in the Foundation Establishment exam, Zhang Yu secretly observed the expressions of the crowd, and thought to himself, "Sure enough, it's just like I'd thought. The more these old cows despise high school diplomas and despise people who are not as good as them, the more they worship rich scholar masters like the Immortal Capital masters." In the meeting room, the gang elders were pleasantly surprised an Immortal Capital master actually came here to teach. "Is he real or fake?" An old man with a long white beard said, "Whether it's real or fake, didn't you see that the customers' reactions are very good?" Another bald old man smiled and said, "Good, good, good. We should do this in the Dark Learning Gang. The signboard of the Immortal Capital people, I don't know how many new students it can attract." A supporter of Teacher Yao said, "But little Yao can bring about medicine sales. He said he wants to open up new markets for the gang. As long as he becomes a gold medal teacher, he can help us get medicine agency channels." The old man with the long white beard said, "You believe what he says? I also said that I can get the copyright of Xiong." Another person said, "What about old Bai? A genuine white dragon person, 145 years old, with rich work experience, wholeheartedly for the gang." The bald old man said, "A 145-year-old old thing, who knows if he will die in class one day. What's the point of choosing him?" He continued, "I think we should choose this Myerting. The signboard of the Immortal Capital people is loud enough to really help the gang." Another person suggested, "I still think Little Yao is good. No matter how loud the signboard is, it's better to earn more money." Someone said, "Little Yao has his good points, and Little Ma has his good points. Why not just choose 2 gold medal teachers this time?" Someone retorted, "There are only so many classes, choosing to where will so many classes come from for them to teach?" The elders in the entire meeting room quarreled, arguing over who would become the new gold medal teacher and take over this class. Just as the gang elders in the meeting room were arguing incessantly, debating over who should be the new candidate for the gold medal teacher, suddenly, the bald old man said, "No need to argue, just take a look at Little Ma's lesson." It turned out that while everyone was arguing, Zhang Yu, who was giving a trial lecture in the classroom, directly asked every old person in the class to give him a pill they carried with them in order to demonstrate his spring and autumn endless Zen skills. More than a dozen types, brands, and potencies of drugs, including capsules, pills, and injections, were all consumed by Zhang Yu in one go. Under the effects of spring and autumn endless Zen and the high school holy body, Jiang Yu quickly digested and absorbed the medicinal power, and even withstood the drug's toxicity and side effects. Seeing Jiang Yu's complexion unchanged after taking all the medicine, and showing no signs of abnormality, the old people in the classroom became more and more convinced. At the same time, the bald elder in the meeting room said, "Little Ma has gimmicks, strength, can teach real things, and provide emotional value. He is the only candidate for this gold medal teacher." Hearing the bald elder's words, although some elders still wanted to support their subordinates, Teacher Yao and Teacher Bai, they had nothing to say. Everyone present was a figure who had been operating in the dark tutoring world for many years, and they knew that in this market, good teaching did not necessarily mean good sales. A teacher like Zhang Yu, with enough gimmicks and the name of immortal capital person, to attract many customers, coupled with solid skills, would surely have booming sales in the future. Then let's go with Little Ma. We can warm up a wave before the course starts. Isn't the gold class gang competing with us for the elderly market? We can just push Little Ma's class out to compete with them, and we will definitely gain the upper hand. At the same time, Teacher Chi, Teacher Yao, and Teacher Bai were standing outside the trial classroom, listening to Zhang Yu's lecture, all with expressions of surprise. If the identity of the immortal capital person only made them feel surprised and skeptical, then seeing Zhang Yu's demonstration of spring and autumn endless zen later, all three of them were shocked. Teacher Yao thought to himself, he actually used so many drugs with conflicting functions and incompatibilities in one go. This guy's ability to withstand drugs is terrifying, and his metabolic capacity probably surpasses the three of us. Teacher Shi and Teacher Bai glanced at each other and shook their heads helplessly, knowing that with the other party's immortal capital person, brand, and such a hard skill, they had no hope of being selected as a gold medal teacher this time. After Zhang Yu finished his trial lecture in the classroom, he walked out of the classroom under the reluctant gazes of the old people. Teacher Chi and the other two were no longer waiting outside the classroom. Only Black Crow looked at Zhang Yu and smiled. "Teacher Ma, the elders of the gang have decided that you will take over the position of gold medal teacher and lead this elderly class in the future." Then, Black Crow talked to Zhang Yu about the specific salary and benefits. Zhang Yu roughly calculated that 5 class hours a week would bring in about 250,000 after-tax income per week, which would be about 1 million a month. Black Crow said cautiously, "It may be a little less at the beginning, after all, you are just starting to teach. But as long as the teaching effect is good, coupled with the gang's publicity, the number of class hours and students will definitely continue to increase. At that time, your income of 2 million, or even 3 million a month, is possible." Fuji chuckled in the dark, "This guy is drawing you a pie. But the commission given to you is indeed a lot. Maybe they also heard about your identity as an immortal capital person and are afraid that you will think it's too little." Zhang Yu thought to himself, the identity of the immortal capital person is indeed very useful. It is not only effective for coaxing students, but also for asking for a higher price. Although Zhang Yu had only been an immortal capital master in a dream in the illusion, the so-called one immortal capital dream, a lifetime of immortal capital affection, he had decided that Ma Yurtong, this fake identity, would be a genuine immortal capital master from now on. After successfully applying for the gold medal teacher, Zhang Yu thought about Bai Zhen's participation in the gang's action tomorrow. "I hope Bai Zhen will be successful tomorrow." Time passed quickly, and it was already the next day. Outside a cemetery in the distant suburbs of Songyang City, Bai Zhen was standing with a group of people. In front of them, a tall, dark-skinned man, with the word "learn" tattooed on his face, was looking at them with cold eyes. The big man said, "The gold class gang is too deceitful. They not only steal our course outlines, attack our gold medal teachers, but also collude with the Xiong group to seal up the park. So, in order to retaliate against the gold class gang, we are going to do something big. We will join forces with the security team of the Deep Sea Group to attack the largest class location of the gold class gang." According to the big man's introduction, the largest class location of the gold class gang was the cemetery in front of them. This cemetery is a cemetery on the surface, but underground are buried the teachers of the gold class gang. Students can enter the underground tomb palace to attend classes by worshipping and offering cash. However, several reports have been unsuccessful, which led to this raid. Bai Zhen listened to the big man above, constantly inspiring morale, but she secretly cried out in her heart, "Damn it. I'm involved in this kind of big battle as soon as I come." At this time, she heard the big man above say, in order to wipe out the scum of the gold-class gang, in one fell swoop, the gang will use a copyright bomb this time. After the copyright bomb explodes, the security team of the Deep Sea Group will cooperate to wipe out the members of the gold-class gang inside. Bai Zhenzhen thought to herself, what is this copyright bomb? The big man took out a black cube and introduced, this is the copyright bomb carefully manufactured by the gang. Once activated, it will quickly play the expert-level exercises of the Deep Sea Group at a sound intensity of 120 decibels, with an effective transmission distance of more than 1 kilometer in radius. Damn it, Bai Zhenzhen was startled when she heard this is a terrorist attack. The big man continued, because the underground structure of the cemetery is too complicated, this time there will be elite experts from the gang carrying copyright bombs to break into it. Now we will draw lots to select the people for the operation. Bai Zhenzhen was speechless for a while, so these elite experts are selected by drawing lots from our group? After a while, the big man patted Bai Zhenzhen on the shoulder and said, Little La, after you go in, as long as you activate the copyright bomb, the company's security force will follow closely behind, search the entire area, and arrest everyone. Bai Zhenjin said with a stiff face, will I be arrested if I hear the content of these exercises? The big man comforted, don't worry, you will work overtime after you go in, and the gang will pay to help you get through the channels and get you out, as soon as possible. The most new small set is at 69 book bar first hair. After sitting in a hard class for a few years and paying off the fine, you will be the boss. At that time, the treatment will be on par with the gold medal teacher. Another person next to him suddenly looked at Bai Zhenjin and said, are you afraid? If you are afraid, give me the opportunity, I will go. Hearing this, several people around looked over, with a fierce look, as if they all wanted to grab this opportunity. After all, for them, being able to become a boss after sitting in class for a few years is a great opportunity to turn over. Looking at the eager faces of the others, Bai Zhenjin suddenly smiled in her heart, really? After being with Yuzi, my life seems to be too comfortable, and I have forgotten that if poor people like us want to climb up, we have to work so hard and seize every opportunity, right? Bai Zhenjin looked at the big man and licked her lips. If I drop the copyright bomb and can run out before the company's security force searches without being taken away, can the gang directly give me that sum of money that is prepared to help me get through the channels? The big man raised his eyebrows and said with interest, run out before the security force takes action? If you can really be so fast, then I will make the decision. That sum of money is 500,000 in total, and it can be directly given to you. Also, after you come out, you can lead a small team to watch the venue, and you will get a base salary of 800,000 per month. More than half an hour later, an extremely majestic and loud voice erupted from the depths of the cemetery, as if countless people were chanting the content of the exercises in the depths of the ground. Seconds later, a flash of lightning lit up in the night sky, like a flash of lightning in the darkness, striking towards the cemetery gate. At the same time, someone shouted, "Don't let him run." In the woods outside the cemetery, the security force of the Deep Sea Group had already rushed over with a series of after images. In the flashing of lightning, Bai Zhenjin's nervous system was frantically transmitting all the information she could perceive. Under the infusion of this massive amount of information, the whole world seemed to slow down in Bai Zhenjin's perception. Inside her body, the muscles of her legs exploded violently, her heart beat violently to supply blood, and thunder magic power continued to spew out of her body like plasma. The true spiritual route ran through her whole body, making every movement extremely precise, without wasting a trace of explosive power. At this moment, every part of Bai Zhenjin's body was frantically accelerating, accelerating again. Outside her body, the shouts behind her were getting farther and farther away, and she was gradually throwing them away. The sound of breaking through the air outside the cemetery was getting louder and louder, and more urgent. This was the security force of the Deep Sea Group surrounding her. The cemetery gate in front was gradually closing, and several security guards were blocking Bai Zhenjin, trying to stop her. But in Bai Zhenjin's eyes, these security guards were full of flaws, and there was no cooperation between them. In her perception, she only needed a few flashes to bypass the slow obstruction of the security guards, and jumped out of the cemetery gate, with a whoosh. In the eyes of the security guards, they only felt a flash of lightning, and the person had disappeared into the night sky. Several hours later, the big man looked at Bai Zhenjin in front of him and praised, as swift as thunder, as fast as lightning. It's a pity that you don't deliver food with your swift light work footwork. How did you think of joining a gang? It's faster to make money, Bai Zhenjin said. Hurry up and pay the money. Looking at the 500,000 that had been credited to her account, Bai Zhenjin smiled slightly and thought to herself, now that Yuzi has become a gold medal teacher and I have also made it in the gang. The final round of foundation building exam. Will definitely win. As Xiong and Bai Zhenjin frantically made money in the dark learning gang, their strength also began a new round of skyrocketing. Time flew by with the two people's work and practice, and the third round of foundation building exam in January next year was getting closer and closer. Listening to Audio Nova. Early November. With the monthly exam approaching again, students at Xian High School hurried back and forth, and the sound of students reading aloud constantly came from the restrooms. Lian Tianji looked at the empty seat not far away, thinking, did that sacred top student of the grade go to Xiong Yu again? He clenched his fists, thinking to himself, he doesn't even let go of the 1-hour lunch break. Inside an apartment outside Xian High School, Lemulin, who had just finished exercising, was covered in sweat, her whole body exuding a layer of crystal water as if she had just come out of the swimming pool. She looked at the puddle of water on the ground mixed with her and Zhang Yu's sweat. A hint of hesitation flashed in her eyes. Lemulin opened her mouth and asked, Zhang Yu, do you not need to take medicine now? Zhang Yu looked at the data on the feather book. After his physical strength broke through to level 10 last time, reaching the limit of ki refining, his original mana, which was already over 97 units, finally reached 100 units, officially reaching the limit of ki refining. Recalling the arduous practice of the past year, Zhang Yu sighed, yeah, ordinary drugs are of no use to me now. After speaking, he continued to practice his newly bought expert-level body refining technique whale tendon 9 transformations. Zhang Yu's muscles were constantly expanding and contracting, gradually becoming more and more elastic with each exercise. While practicing this technique, Zhang Yu thought to himself, each time this whale tendon 9 transformations is completed, the muscles all over the body will have an additional layer of elasticity, which can not only expand the muscles and change the body shape, but also make the muscles gain a strong resistance to blows. At this moment, Zhang Yu had already cultivated this whale tendon 9 transformations to level 5, and he felt that once he exerted strength, the muscles on his body seemed to be able to turn into a rubber-like state, with a far greater resistance to blunt weapon strikes such as fists, feet, and sticks than before. Zhang Yu thought to himself, if I cultivate this technique to level 10, according to the introduction of the level 10 effect in the electronic manual, my body shape should be able to instantly increase from a normal state to about 2.8 meters, without any problem. At that time, the impact resistance of my flesh and blood will be even more terrifying. Even a master of the same level probably won't be able to hurt me without dozens of consecutive attacks. This 1.1 million secret manual is indeed extraordinary. Thinking of the price of this whale tendon 9 transformations, Jiang Yu couldn't help but sigh that money is really too useful in Kongshu. In Kongshu, you can only become stronger if you have money. And with money, coupled with my terrifying potential, the speed of progress will be even faster. If it weren't for earning more money, Zhang Yu wouldn't have taken Lemulin's sparring in addition to the Dark Learning Gang's courses. After all, his mana and body had already reached the limit of ki refining, and most of the drugs were of no help to his cultivation. Hearing Zhang Yu's answer, Lemulin's heart became even more complicated. She recalled what her brother Le Jingchen said. According to what you said last time, did you collect the sweat I asked you to collect? Such clean sweat after taking the medicine is not simple, maybe it's some kind of new immortal Dao technology. I heard news from the Xian headquarters, in Xiandu, that a wealthy family in Xiandu said they discovered a new transformation surgery that allows a high school student to have metabolic abilities far beyond their own strength. They have been looking for the company behind this technology. Now the situation in Songyang City is changing rapidly, and the entry of the Oasis Group is a certainty. If we can find out the origin of this technology, we can also increase our family's bargaining chips. If you have the opportunity, collect it and take it to the laboratory for testing. By the way, remember not to let the other party know about this process. Recalling what her brother said, Lemulin thought to herself, I really didn't expect. Zhang Yu was hesitant about whether to collect my sweat back then. Now it has become me collecting his sweat. Watching Zhang Yu run to the toilet, Lemulin's mind flashed another sentence from her brother: "It would be better if there was urine or other body fluids." Lemulin's cheeks flushed red, and she quickly shook her head, throwing the annoying thought out of her mind. Taking advantage of Zhang Yu's trip to the toilet, she quickly took out a test tube from her bag and collected the sweat on the ground. Time flew by quickly as Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin worked and practiced. In the blink of an eye, another half-month passed, and it was mid-November. This day, Zhang Yu was practicing with Yu Xing'an inside Bai Long High School. While Yu Xing'an was resting, Zhang Yu was practicing his new technique alone, the 5th expert-level body refining technique that could form a martial Dao holy embryo Yu blood great art. He was sitting on the ground, and the skin on his face, arms, and various parts of his body turned blue and red, constantly changing with the rapid metabolism and circulation of blood in his body. Zhang Yu thought to himself, this Yu blood great art can increase physical strength, purify flesh and blood, and transport nutrients and energy to all parts of the body faster, by accelerating blood metabolism, which can improve the operating power of the body. Zhang Yu could feel that as he practiced this technique, he could explode his physical strength at full power, for a longer time. 1.03 million is a bit expensive. If it weren't for my current high income, I really wouldn't be able to afford this kind of martial art. While Zhang Yu was silently running the Yi blood grade art, Yu Xing'an was going through the reimbursement process with his senior sister through his mobile phone. Senior sister, I have finished the class with Zhang Yu. It cost 30,000 yuan. Yu Xing'an looked at the 15,000 yuan he spent on Zhang Yu, and then looked at the 30,000 yuan Li Zulian sent, and smiled to himself. HMPH, a woman being played by me in the palm of my hand. Hiss, that feeling is coming again. Yu Xing'an picked up the collection bottle and walked out of the door. Zhang Yu, you practice by yourself first. I have to work overtime temporarily. At the same time, in another remote office, Li Zulian glanced at the 30,000 yuan she paid and sent a message to real person Xing the dad. Yu Xing'an spent another 100,000 yuan. Hurry up and send me the money. He is now in the 2nd year of high school, which is a critical moment for spending money. Not a penny can be less. Time flew by with the continuous explosion of gold coins by Yu Xing'an and Li Zulian, and it was the end of November in the blink of an eye. Inside the cafeteria of Songyang High School, Zhang Yu looked at the newly released synthetic meat in front of him, looking at the shape, texture, and color that were no different from real meat. He took a bite and a look of surprise appeared on his face. This synthetic meat from Oasis Group is too amazing, isn't it? It's almost like real meat. The most new small set is at 6-9 book bar first hair. Bai Zhenjin next to him also nodded repeatedly, eating the synthetic meat in big mouthfuls, and said, it's cheap and delicious, who will buy real meat to eat in the future? At this moment, a student silently walked to their table and offered a small bowl of synthetic meat to their table. Hey. Bai Zhenjin just wanted to stop the other party, but the other party slipped away without looking back. At the same time, there were already more than a dozen such side dishes offered on the table. Zhao Tianxing on the side looked very envious, both envious of the other party being able to eat so much, and envious of the other party's face and dignity in Songyang High School. He thought to himself, since Bai Zhenjin stood up for the first-year students last time and taught the senior third-year students who were bullying the freshmen, now the entire first-year and second-year grades have come to Bai Zhenjin and Zhang Yu for protection. Recalling the various rumors about Wuxing Group being blocked and Zhang Yu and Bai Zhenjin having incredibly deep backgrounds, Zhao Tianxing sighed in his heart. They truly deserve to be called the emperors of Songyang High School now. Within the scope of Songyang High School, the clown position can no longer appear under their feet. And as long as I closely follow them, I will also be able to stay away from the clown position. After lunch, Zhang Yu came to the rooftop of the cafeteria, closed his eyes, and began to run the resentment spirit root in his body, absorbing the resentment in Songyang High School. At this moment, he was using the impact of resentment to temper his Dao Heart. Dao Heart level 7. While using the impact of resentment to temper his Dao Heart, Zhang Yu did not forget to run his mana and continue to practice the 6th expert level body refining technique that could form a martial Dao holy embryo 5 key refining viscera art. He ran mana through different meridians, using special mana of 5 attributes to nourish the 5 internal organs, dispatching the power of the 5 internal organs to complement each other, making his internal organs stronger and stronger. During this process of refining the viscera, Xiong Yu's digestive ability and metabolic ability would also be continuously enhanced. Although I have the high school holy body, my digestive and metabolic abilities are already strong enough. However, considering that the high school holy body will eventually be replaced, the improvement brought by this 5-key refining viscera art will be very useful at that time. And when this technique is cultivated to level 10, I will be able to mobilize the power of the internal organs and integrate it into the combat technique when I fight. Then even with the same level of physical strength, my explosive power will be stronger. The negative emotions brought by the impact of resentment made Xiong Yu raise his eyebrows, and he had to put down all distracting thoughts and concentrate on his practice. Time flew by quickly in Xiong Yu's focused practice, and it was the beginning of December, with 1 month left before the final foundation establishment exam. Xiong Yu slowly walked out of the classroom where the Dark Learning Gang class had just taken place, under the admiring gazes of many students. Black Crow greeted him and reminded him, "Mr. Ma, thanks to you being here recently, many elderly students from the Gold Class Gang have been attracted. In addition, Teacher Le has made great achievements repeatedly. Not only has the Gold Class Gang fallen behind, but the situation in the gang is also precarious. But the more this is the case, the more ruthless their counterattack is now. They are very likely to target you. You must be more careful." Xiong Yu replied somewhat absent-mindedly, "It's just mutual benefit. Otherwise, my income in these 2 months wouldn't have skyrocketed so much." At the same time, Xiong Yu's eyes were glancing at the content on the feather book chain law diagram. Since he pushed the 5-key refining viscera art to level 10, the martial Dao Holy Embryo finally gathered 6 techniques and opened the first layer of effects. As he replaced these 6 techniques one by one on the chain law diagram, the original high school holy body had disappeared, replaced by primary martial Dao Holy Embryo. The holy embryo is initially formed, and the ability to resist blows and self-healing of external injuries skyrockets. Xiong Yu thought to himself, skyrockets? It didn't say to what extent it has improved. It seems that I have to try it slowly. Xiong Yu was walking on the road in the suburbs when Fuji suddenly said, "The network signal is suddenly not very good. It seems someone is here to make trouble for you."